Hey, this is Jack from Alpha Charts with a stocks to watch video. Today is October 16th, 2022. Before we get started, this video is for informational purposes only. These are not recommendations to buy, sell, or hold any stock or security. And I may hold positions in some of the equities mentioned. Know your time frame and risk tolerance. Yeah, let's get this video started. If you haven't followed me on Twitter yet, AlphaCharts365. That's at AlphaCharts365. If you haven't subscribed or liked to my videos on YouTube, do that right now. Thank you. It really does help me out. I appreciate the support you guys give me. So thank you. All right, let's get going. Talking about the market's general overview. I do a state of the market video on Saturdays, which I put out yesterday on my YouTube channel and on Twitter. Going over in depth what I'm seeing in the markets. But Thursday, just a brief recap, we had a very giant reversal type day, a bullish engulfing type candle, no follow through at all on Friday, but the pullback was on lower volume. I mean, if we got to say there's something that's nice about that, it was on lower volume. And so we'll see what happens this week. I can tell you sentiment wise, just anecdotally, everyone is bearish. Like literally everyone's bearish, right? Or at least talking bearish. So that may be the reason why we may move higher next week. I'm not saying we're going to move higher beyond that, but I think there's a chance that we do move higher next week. And so here's a list of stocks that may be of use to you. Okay, if you're interested. I went through and for my super follow group, I do a very, very in-depth video. But I do give you guys a lot of excerpts from that in this particular video. Okay, so if you're interested in the super follow group, at AlphaCharts365 on Twitter, and then just click super follow and you sign up for that. All right, XOM is the first one. And as you can see, a very beautiful kind of double bottom look right there. Earnings coming up, so just be careful for that. But again, very strong looking name in ExxonMobil, and liquid name, right? And that's important in this market, right? We want to get in, get out, and get good prices. What else? MTDR, Matador, again, very similar type of look. We got a false breakout there, kind of came back, and now it's kind of challenging this area again. Again, most of these have not broken out yet, but they are setting up again out of the higher low. So it's a double bottom, didn't undercut per se, but buyers stepped in sooner, right? What's not to like about that? That was MTDR again. So energy is holding up well. That's why you're seeing energy names here, right? We want relative strength, and not only relative strength, because relative strength could mean that two things are going down. One's going down faster than the other. We want relative strength of things in uptrends, and you could tell if you look at these moving averages, these are in uptrends. All right, so this is Devon Energy, DVN, also just coming into this supply area potentially. Break above the area, that makes sense. You could also use manage risk here if you want to get an early entry against the 50-day, right? And then your risk reward's pretty good there. MPC, another energy name, very similar steps to notice how all these energy names look very, very similar, right? Low, higher low, higher low, right? That's what we're looking for. So yeah, I mean, the day on Friday wasn't nice to these names, or any names for that matter, but it's still in uptrends, and you can still manage risk if you want to go long a name. These are some energy names that look pretty good. I also noticed some banking names that are looking good, specifically in the insurance area. So here's CFR. Again, we can just kind of do this, right? And it's right here in the supply area. Now, we found sellers every time we've come up here. So far, we found sellers again. So maybe needs to chill out a little bit, watch your earnings dates, and maybe move sideways as the moving averages catch up. But overall, it's a very strong looking chart, right? Whether you want to call this an inverse head and shoulders or whatever you want to call it, it looks great. That was CFR. MTB, I think there's a regional bank, and some of those were looking pretty good too. Again, we got generally this area to deal with. Earnings very soon, obviously, right there. But yeah, it just keeps bouncing into this area. Eventually, now watch, it got rejected here, got rejected right same spot. Couldn't even make it up there. Made up there, kind of busted through, came back, kind of came up that area, came back. Again, each time it's going up that area, it's chewing through supply. So there's your 200-day that's rising. Very easy to manage risk if it wasn't for earnings, right? Very easy to manage risk. That was MTB. Next, insurance, Allstate. Let's look at this one. So we can easily say this general area, right? That was where, it was support, resistance, 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 resistance. So far, resistance, we'll see. But again, bullishly aligning moving averages. What more could we want, right? They're all moving up. Your 50 is about to cross the 200, and that's what we're looking for. And then there's accumulation in the base, on the right side of the base. So I don't know. Looks good to me, right? Especially if you get the breakout, right? If you get above 137 in this name, why not, right? That's a pretty strong looking name. Allstate. WRB is the next one. So here's WRB. And again, we can kind of put in this area again, found sellers right in this area, which it has in the past so far. And again, do I know if this is going to happen like this? No idea. But I tell you this, that was a strong move right there, and it gave back less than half of it. So I like that. And then you have the bullishly aligned moving averages. Again, it's a little bit extended from them at this point. Not terribly, but a little bit. So it may need a few more days to come back. Maybe it does 2 or 3 days of a tight action, sideways action. That would be very, very constructive for it to pull out, to break out. Again, these financials do have earnings coming up, a lot of these names, okay? That was WRB. And then biotechs. I found a lot of biotechs that I liked. So here is Biogen, and let's add a VWAP right there. And so I think price above this VWAP, and it looks like, it could be a pretty strong name. It may need a few more days, right? Let these moving averages catch up a little bit more, and does have earnings coming up. But overall, it looks pretty good. VRTX is another name. I mean, it just keeps bumping again and again. Lower, higher low, higher lows. And right now, this would be considered, in my opinion, a higher low, right? So you can easily manage risk, against moving averages, against the higher, it shouldn't even come back and break this low. And that's a pretty good reward to risk scenario, whether you do against the moving averages or that low. So that is VRTX, Vertex Pharmaceuticals. AMGN, AMGN. There's another one, right? So again, large cap biotech. That's what I'm seeing is really working right now. Again, supply. We come in, we don't know, but look how these moving averages are starting to really, align bullishly, all in uptrends. In a few days, this will probably be a very strong uptrend. You have earnings in November, so you have a couple weeks. That's not too bad. So, yeah, looks pretty good. That's AMGN. CNAO Healthcare, CANO. I was watching this flag here in the past. It broke out. It kind of failed right on the breakout, but it's holding the 23-day. And so that's why this is on the list, because as long as it holds this 23-day, I think that everything is okay and bullish. If it breaks down below the 23-day, I'd be out. So the reward to risk in this name, basically, it's either going to move higher or you're out. That's kind of how it goes. I guess inside days can happen too. But point is, it's either going to move higher or you're out. There's very little risk in this particular name, and there's a bunch of accumulation going on. I mean, look at these bars. These bars. Look at that bar. Look at this bar. And then the next day, right on the pullback, nothing. On this big nasty day down, what I mean, it was barely higher volume than the day before, and well less than the average volume. So CNAO Healthcare. What else? PAYO. Payoneer Global. Again, I love how the 200 days already starting to curl back up again. Bullshit line, intermediate and shorter term moving averages. You can, look at this area as the area to kind of manage risk against. You go even further back if you want to. Again, a lower priced stock. But yeah, breaking out, moving to 52-week highs. Not quite 52-week highs, but almost 52-week highs, right? Another month there'll be 52-week highs, hopefully. But looks pretty good, near 52-week highs. So that looks pretty good. That was PAYO. HSIC. Here's a name that I've never been involved with, but I've been watching it for weeks. If you watch my videos, we've been talking about this name forever. It broke out beautifully on this day. Look at this volume, man. I mean, that's as good as it gets right there. I don't know why I'm not in this name. But on the pullbacks, decreasing volume, then boom, high volume, pullback, decreasing volume, high volume, decreasing volume. That's exactly what you want to see. That's not, me and you buying. This is institutional buying right here. It's showing on the chart, and you see it just marching higher, right? So even now, it's not crazy high. So this is harmonic HSIC, and it looks fantastic. Okay, any pullback into the 23 or even sideways movement to this $13, I would even say here, you could probably say this is probably the new level right there, right? Pulls back into 13.15, 13.10, whatever, and you can manage it very nicely versus 23-day. So maybe a little pullback right there would be great, right? Not saying it's going to happen, but that's what I'd love to see. Two more for you. CCRN, right? So here's CCRN, and we've obviously talked about this one in the past too. It did break out, and it's still going sideways. There's your 23-day. Again, very actionable still at this point. Love that it's just kind of grinding higher on lower volume. Again, nice accumulation in the space. So this is cross-country healthcare. Again, some healthcare names looking good. And the last one is HROW. Right. So we had a beautiful kind of area right there, right? So try to break out, pulled back. Now it's going sideways, fairly tight action, nice accumulation as it's going sideways. Just no sellers are found at this point, right? You have the 23-day at 1088-ish. So that's a decent move, right? So you'd have to decide how you want to manage risk. It could be maybe against, this 1125, 1126 area, or something like that. But this again shows tons of accumulation, no distribution. So yeah, you can wait till maybe it breaks above this high right there, above 1245, and you can manage risk against the short-term moving average. Those are just some ideas if you like this name, HROW, Harrow Health. So again, healthcare names, biotechs. In the financials, I like insurance and some regional banks. And then, of course, I like energy names, right? Old school XOM type, energy names. Okay. That's what I got for you. About 16 names. I think that many of these are actionable. Good luck this week. Hopefully they continue in uptrends, and hopefully your equity account is doing well. If you haven't followed me on Twitter at AlphaCharts365, like and subscribe to this video. I give it to you every week for free. So I appreciate you guys doing that. And again, don't forget to become a super follow. Take care.